Hello and welcome to our podcast, to Lumea lui Avarvarei, Avarvarei's World, or Avarvarei's People in English. This is actually our first podcast in English. And we have a special guest today, Thomas Snellman. Hello, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thomas is from Finland, and he's the creator of a REKO concept. It's it's a concept of selling products from small local producers directly to consumers, avoiding as much as possible intermediaries, supermarkets, and all the other companies that stand in the way and just add to the price and make it more complicated, because selling it directly is the best way to handle products, local products. But let him do all the talking and present the concept. But I first want to ask you a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and what made you come up with this concept?
My name is Thomas Snellman, and I'm a farmer since almost 45 years in Finland. Not to make this history too long, but in the 90s I was involved in the Farmers Union to develop and promote organic production, since I was turned into organic myself in 1990. In the beginning I had a small dairy farm with milking cows, but then in 1998 I turned into beef cattle, and that allowed me to have a lot more free time and to start doing different kind of projects. I've been a freelancer in many different areas. I also used to be a certified controller for organic production for 15 years for the official Finnish body for organic production. But concerning to this REKO concept, go back to the 90s when I tried to promote the produce and get them into the stores. It was quite easy to discuss with processing industry and with farmers, but to get the produce into the shelves in supermarkets or shops was much more difficult. And I can even say that mostly I failed in this question. After a while, I stopped working for this Farmers Union, but then I thought I should learn French, so I went to France and worked on a farm for a couple of months just to learn the language, and got a lot of friends there. And then in 2012, I was invited by a former director for our agricultural school, and he said he had something to show to me that he thought would be very interesting for me. So he took me to a CSA delivery in Douai-la-Fontaine in the middle part of France. We went there for the delivery of this CSA, and I saw when producers came there and opened their cars and started to put on small tables the produce they brought, and in a while a big amount of consumers came to the place. And when I saw this, it was the solution of the problem I faced in the 90s. So the REKO concept was actually created in 1 second, and I know exactly when it was created. It was the 25th of October 2012 at 17:32.
Wow.
Because I had my camera with me, so when I realized, because I had faced the problems to reach consumers without middlemen, and from that moment I started to figure out how to create a similar project, and it took me and my partners half a year before we were ready to do something in practice in Finland.
Okay. And what is the status of REKO now in Finland? How developed is it, this concept?
When we started in 2013, we had, and that was also my own aim. I didn't think about spreading around this concept. It was mostly mostly that I wanted to have access to local food where I live. That was my goal. I didn't have any goals to go bigger and bigger. But since it's and it reason was also because since about 30 years we didn't have any access to local food where I live. We didn't have any markets with fresh produce like you have still here in Romania. So actually before REKO there were no access to local fresh food at all where I live. So this was my big task to change. And after a couple of years, people from other parts of Finland started to contact me. Because they have heard by rumor about this and it seems to work well. So I was invited to many parts of Finland to talk about this concept. And it grew exponentially, you could say. First year we had these 2 circles. Next year we had 25 circles. The third year we had 100 circles. And now after 12 years, we now have a little bit more than 200 circles with about 700,000 members only in Finland. So on a national level, I see that we succeeded to get access to local food everywhere. In practice, everywhere in Finland, you have the possibility to buy from my project. Afterwards, it also went outside Finland. It took a couple of years. So I think in 2016 was the first time I was invited to Sweden to speak about this. And the development was very, very fast there, and then to other countries also. So until today, I've been invited to 21 different countries around the world to give speech of this very, very, very simple project. So I don't know why they need me to come and tell them about it. It's you could say it's make it simple.
So there are about 7,000 producers in Finland now.
No, we have. I should say that we have about 1,500 selling weekly, but during the year it's about 4,000 producers. 4,000. But we have 700,000 members.
700,000 members.
Yeah, when you include also the customers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's hard to quantify the numbers to say how much this concept is selling, how much the producers are selling through this concept.
I made some own estimations about it. So I think on a global level today we talk about 200 to 250 million euros. And in Finland, we are somewhere between 30 and 50 million yearly. Mm-hmm. But of course, since it's this big organization, it doesn't sound that big, but it has also another impact because of this. The producers are in a much better position. Because before REKO, if they wanted to sell through a shop, the shop owner could say, "I give you this offer, take it or leave it," and it was quite often like a shame offer. Mm-hmm. Now, when the shops see that this is a very good concept, they come creeping on their knees to the producer and say, "We want your produce." Mm. So the position for the producers are totally changed. Now mm-hmm. They are they can ask for a much better contract than if they are so big, so they can also sell to stores. But it's mainly because the store have seen that it's actually there is a demand for local produce. Mm-hmm. So that's it. I think that impact is even bigger than what REKO as itself is. For other countries, I can't judge. I think it's a little bit in the same way.
Do you live in a big city in Finland or a small one?
It's considered a very small one. The municipality is a rural municipality where I live. We have 11,000 inhabitants, but the nearby small town close where we started, where the very first delivery was, has about 20,000 inhabitants.
And please.
Yeah, so for the moment, in this REKO circle, as we call it, we have about 7,000 members. So about 30% of the total population are members in this. And you know, it's since a very long time. And I could describe also how people see upon this, because as an admin in this Facebook group where we connect, I can see the activity by the members. Mm-hmm. And during some periods of the year, we have 80 to 85% there that's looking on this Facebook site to check out what's offered. That means I think it's hard to find a 12-year-old Facebook group where 85% of the members are monthly looking at this group. Yeah. Every week we had days when 2,000 or 2,500 members look upon this group. So it seems like it, in some way, has succeeded.
Definitely. So you did not have any kind of farmers market in your town before REKO?
No. We had a vegetable grower with a certain kind of varieties that used to come. He was alone on the market. And now he's also participating in our REKO. It takes a lot of time, and since the system has disappeared since 30 years, people were not used to think that way. So it was not an option for them. Mm-hmm. And I can say, when I started to look for farmers, about the answer I got, we don't believe in this, but since you are the person asking, we are in. So, and I couldn't know if we would succeed or not. But since we're not burning any capital, it's totally free for everyone participating. If you make a trial and it fails, it's not big deal. So it seems like it's been quite. I couldn't at the moment see how it would develop in the future, and I often think, how did this happen?
In Romania, we still have farmers markets in small towns, like maybe for a town of 5,000, 10,000 people, there are still popular farmers markets. But in a town like Cluj, which has about 400,000 people, basically everybody goes to a supermarket. So it will definitely work in a big town like this, the concept, because the occasional producers market that organized by the municipality are very popular, but they are very rare and not so accessible, because they are in the same place and only once a week or once a month or something like that. So this is a very interesting concept. What does REKO stand for?
It's if you translate it into English, it's like fair consumption or relationship consumption. When I figured out the name, as I said, it was only meant for our local area. And since I live myself in a area with two strong languages, Swedish and Finnish. I belong myself to Swedish-speaking minority. So I needed to find something that worked in both languages. And this was quite close to that, it means rejäl konsumtion in Swedish and reilua kuluttamista in Finnish. So I think I figured out the name in a couple of minutes because it was only for the moment. I never thought about it spreading around, but it seems like it been accepted almost all over the world. Cluj is perhaps the only, and also in the Netherlands they have something with not the same name, and here it's quite close anyway. So it's.
We actually have it would kind of work in Romanian because we have relationship is relații, consumption is consum, so it's REKO, but with C, not with K. But
I have never liked when people from different parts of the world had contacted me. They ask the same question, what this mean, and I usually say what it means. But I say if you want to develop a concept like that, you can choose the name for free. But everyone have so far chosen to use REKO because you can find quite a lot of material on internet in many different languages about REKO. So if they create something new, they have to promote it in some way. So they take benefit from this.
Branding is expensive, so basically your concept depends on the idea of online groups. You mostly use Facebook,
right? Yes, that's correct.
It wouldn't be possible without online groups because you cannot spread your message very cheaply to so many people about these markets without a Facebook group.
Yeah, and as I said, I found the concept in France, and the concept there was relying on written contracts between producers and consumers. They were obliged to participate every delivery, both as consumer and producer. At the moment, when we started, we used the same system, but no one knew about this. Neither did I before I visited the thing in France. So we started to figure out how to reach the consumers, and we made some announcement in the newspaper, and we gathered producers and consumers together. But besides, we also made a Facebook group for the discussion. Mm-hmm. So when we started, we had 2 months contract between producers and consumers, and it was about 30 consumers and 10 or 12 producers involved. That was very, very modest. But for me, beginning from nothing, it was a good start. And then the development change, not chosen by me, but since we had the Facebook group beside for the discussion, persons that didn't have any written contract with certain producers start to ask, I don't have any contract, but could I please buy for the next delivery your meat or your carrots or anything? And that advanced a little bit time by time. So after 2 months, 9 deliveries, the producer said, we don't need any written contract. We continue on Facebook. So it was the circumstances that chose on Facebook. It wasn't like first year was very, very modest. And at the end of the producing season, by the end of September, I had my own plan that we will have a break during the winter and restart next summer. And I wrote this in the Facebook group. We take a break now for until May next year. But then consumers started to write back, we are not stopping to eat during the winter. We will have this to continue. Even if we only have 3 or 4 producers that could deliver anything during the winter. It was eggs, potatoes, carrots, bread, perhaps fish. So I was thinking about having a break, but the consumer decided we will not have any break. So it was a very, very small not many participants during the first year. It stayed, perhaps it growed a little bit, not much, but a little bit. But the big change came next summer. First, when people had summer vacation, they didn't order that much, and the producer didn't have time to participate. So sometimes we had 3 producers showing up with very small orders. But the game changer came when the schools began in August 2014. Then the rumor had a little bit spread locally, so a lot of people started to. So we grow very, very fast from in August, and then the rest is history. It like went viral first in our region, and then in the whole of Finland, and then abroad.
One of main arguments of supermarkets for not buying so much from local producers is that it's very hard for them to buy from very, very many small local producers. And why do you think they don't do this? It's just cost. It's just about money.
It's just about money, and easy to handle if you can get in big amounts the produce coming to from centralized logistics center. In Finland, if I have had a tomato grower nearby, big tomato grower, he sent all his tomatoes to 500 kilometers away to the capital area where they had the big logistical center. And then the tomatoes come back to the store 50 meters away from where I live. I don't have a shop 50 meters away from where I live, but that's like the situation. So people were used to sell to big cooperatives and the wholesale around, and the produce were like anonymous. It could be. It was written. It comes from Finland, but that was all about. So you couldn't find local produce, as I already said.
Let me give you an example. We have a supermarket upstairs. Maybe you pass near it, and they have blueberries. They are from Peru, from South America. But we have producers of blueberries like 10 or 20 kilometers away from us here near Cluj.
Yeah, yes,
and they bring blueberries from South America, from like 20,000 kilometers away. How can that be more cheap than buying from somebody here nearby? It's absurd to bring them from the other side of the world.
But supermarkets and supermarket change owner, they use these kind of things just to keep the price low towards the producer, because they only say, if you don't accept this price, we will bring from abroad. Even if it can be more expensive, but it's to put pressure on the producer. So it's the whole system for the supermarkets is. It's keeping the farmers in a very, very tough situation.
You still have a farm now?
Yes.
So you are, besides working on this project, you also work on your own farm?
Yes.
Does this concept, is it in line with the farm to fork policy of the EU? Is it, or is it something different?
I can't. I have read about this farm to fork.
Or it's just some kind of promises from the politicians and
yes,
not something real?
I think this is a practical way to show from farm to fork, much better than the fancy program they have created in Brussels. But you also have to know that politicians government in Finland, even on EU level, are very satisfied with my activity. So I've been invited to several meetings about short supply chain. So I have been promoted from the very highest level. So they see this in one way as best practice. Perhaps not always, but in under certain circumstances.
So you said that it's definitely better for producers because they can earn more and sell faster their products, and it's definitely better for consumers because it's fresher and it's good for the local community, I guess.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, is it cheaper or more expensive to buy from the local producers?
It might be both, and
it depends.
It depends. But there's no middleman involved at all. That means 100% of what the consumer pays goes to the producer. And if we look at the big picture, produce sold through supermarkets. In Finland, I think it's less than 25% that producers get. It depends also what kind of produce you are trying to sell. If you are in a bulk thing, then it's not perhaps a good way. Even potatoes can be difficult because they weigh. The cost for a potato is quite low anyway, even if you get 5 times higher price through REKO than selling to the wholesale. But they are so difficult to transport in packages that have certain value. So it's it depends on the produce. But many produce like fish, eggs are mainly much cheaper through REKO than from the supermarket. Of course, if the supermarket have a promotion and sell for some low cost just to bring consumers, then it can be the other way. But for the fishermen, the one we have where I live, he gets about double the price through REKO. And still it's about half the price from the supermarket.
And I guess it's hard to compare the two products because the quality is much better most of the time from a local producer.
Since everything is pre-ordered, if you are, for example, have vegetables, they only harvest what's sold today. So there are no waste. Everything brought to the place is sold. You don't have any waste, and it's very time efficient. If the delivery takes place in 45 minutes, and you come there with a car full of produce, and you go back with empty car in 45 minutes, and don't have any waste. So depending on what kind of produce, it can be a very good option.
You know, many people here in Romania complain, for example, about the taste of tomatoes because they say, oh, nowadays tomatoes from the supermarket have no taste. They are very, very bad. Like when we were young, tomatoes were very good, but they forget that when they were young, they only ate them in season. Only ate them in July, August, September, locally, because nobody had tomatoes from abroad in winter 30 years ago. Now we have tomatoes from abroad, which taste horrible, but we still complain about that because, for example, there is a farmer's market near our office, and I go there in summer, and local tomatoes are very, very good in season. Like in August, in September, the taste you cannot get that taste in the supermarket shelf. But there are tomatoes that have a very short shelf life. Like in a few days, they are gone. They get very, very soft, very moist, and they spoil after a week. Supermarkets want tomatoes who have a 1 month shelf life or 2 months shelf life. You cannot have both. You cannot have a very good product, but also to keep it on the shelf for 2 months. So it's a choice. And I think this is also a thing about buying locally. You have to buy in season products.
Yes, you're right.
You cannot buy products in winter, products that are made in summer from a local producer.
Yeah, and you also have other benefits from the farmer's point of view. You can sell how little you want or how much is possible. For example, if a young person wants to start, he can make a trial and see if he likes it, and he knows he got a market where to sell. If he only produce a small amount without much experience, people are big wholesale, he can sell there. But from this he can make a trial, and if he likes the job, he can continue. We have example of those that have started because with the possibility of this, and they have continued and scaled up more and more. And we have also quite a lot of farmers that they sell everything they produce through REKO.
You cannot have a agricultural startup directly by selling thousands of tons to the supermarket. It's much easier to sell from your car a few kilos, a few tens of kilos, and not thousands of kilograms.
Yes, that's the way. And since you have invested €1 million in the equipment, then you are forced to continue.
Yeah.
There's no choice. The bank say you will not quit, but if you can without any money, can start in a small scale and see, do I like to do this? And if I like it, you can scale up as you want. You can have another job beside until a certain time, and then scale up so you can make a living from it if you want.
But do you see REKO as something complementary to the supermarkets, or an alternative that should replace the supermarkets?
I see REKO as giving a face to the food, because before. From the producer's point of view, they was like anonymously persons living around in the country, and the only thing they heard that the produce were too expensive. Now they come and look in the consumer's eye that say, "Oh, your produce is so beautiful. I like this." So the self-conscience for farmers have risen a lot. And I remember a carrot seller in the beginning. He was from the very beginning with our concept there, and he was not used. Quite a young person. He was not used to sell stuff. So first time he arrived. He had his produce beside, and he was like a little bit ashamed. Where's the carrots grow? Here I have my produce. It took 4 weeks. He was very proud standing. Here is my produce. So I saw him growing in the situation, because consumers came to him and said, "You have such a great produce," and to have these kind of words said to you, that makes you grow as a person and give you
Are all the producers using organic agriculture, or is just an option to be organic?
It's an option, but if they write in the announcement that they have organic produce, then they need to fill the standard. Mm-hmm. And for me, I said we can't have an only organic circle where I live, because then we don't get a variation big enough. And so far, I don't think any of the circles in Finland are totally organic. It might be some, but when I made in research in 2015, in the supermarket, the amount of organic was 1.8% of the turnover. At the same time, at the REKO ring where I live, was 48%. So it was 30 times higher than during. So this has shown up to be a very good channel for organic produce. It can be a big variation depending on where you live. So probably it's not that high everywhere in Finland. But at the same time, the consumers also start to ask from the producer, you are not selling organic. Why are not you selling organic? So they start to think in their head, should I turn into organic to have more consumers? I can't say if anyone has done it, but it has shown up to be a very good channel for organic produce.
There is an obesity crisis in Europe. I know Finland is not. It's not really a problem in Finland.
Yes, we have it.
But you have at the bottom of a list. Romania is at the top of the list because basically nobody was obese after the revolution when we got out of communism, and now there is a huge obesity crisis. It rose very much because it's a bit more. There are many factors like the lifestyle of today, the availability of very cheap and bad products, American style products, let's put it that way, and also the higher incomes probably, which makes people eat out a lot and usually bad stuff. But my question is it healthier to buy from local producers? What do you think? Is it healthier to buy locally because you buy in-season food and you tend to buy better products?
I can't give like a total judgment, but I hope when people come in, like consumers very like interested in food, and they normally buy basic food and prepare their own meals. It's not with a lot of like added things in it. So hopefully it's more healthy. But I can't say for sure. It's what I think myself, but I don't have any official numbers about that. But anyway, the consumers coming is like dedicated consumers that want to know from where the food come, and they are normally also very interested in these kind of stuff. So I presume that it's in that way, but I can't say for sure.
So as a producer, it's very easy to go into this program. You just join the Facebook group and just start doing business, right?
In general, in that way. Mostly you need to have the permission from the administrators for a certain recording. So you, in many places you can't just add an announcement in Facebook. You need to have the permission first from the admins. But there's a variation. We have those who don't ask many questions, and we have those that are very strict about the produce and so and since in the beginning we were also quite strict about whom to accept, but personally I figured out that we should not be that strict, at least where I am deciding about things, since consumers also think it's good when they have new producer coming there, and it's like a big variation. If it's only the same one and the same kind of produce, it's losing a little bit of attraction. So it's good for everyone. As normally, if it's 20 producers there, and for every new produce that comes into the place, all the others sells a little bit more, because when this consumer is looking for a new produce, he looks at the same time what else is offered at the same time. So it's a win-win situation so actually quite a lot producers over-talk other producers to come to like fill up the variation in what's sold, because they know if they can get this, they sell themselves a little bit more. So it's And very, very seldom I see any arguments between producers. They are like good friends, and we have created a network that have given the local producers a face towards the consumers. And I have to say they are very proud of it.
How do you deal with problems with a producer? For example, if somebody sells a bad quality product, you rely on consumer feedback, or you also take some measures? I don't know.
Both of, but mainly if someone is cheating and the consumers find out that this is not correct, he has totally missed the confidence for the future. So you're out of the market. It's a very cruel way, and you can't come back because they remember. And sometimes they also write about if it has been some kind of bad quality, but it's very, very rare. For the moment, I can't remember any of these. But it's like a direct feedback, because when you come there with your produce and you are there personally, you need to
have a good reputation.
The reputation, you only lose it once.
Yes. So the system relies on mostly on ad hoc, on spontaneous gathering of producers, or relies mostly on deliveries at home, at the office?
No, it's like a scheduled program for example, where I live, we have during the winter we have Thursday at around 6 o'clock in the afternoon for 1 hour. And that's the producers comes there at this time. So besides, I know there are producers that can make home deliveries, for example, but mainly everything they sell is pre-ordered. It's not perhaps every time done by Facebook. They also can have asked for the phone number for the producer and call him and say that I would like to have this. So, but mainly the things are put on the so Facebook.
That meeting is the main place, and if somebody wants to also order some quantity, he can do that, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is that meeting.
Yeah, and since the producer normally takes only what's pre-ordered, then he can't get anything if he hasn't ordered in before. So some producer takes a little bit extra, but that's also a risk. We used to have a producer that in the beginning that had this ordering system, and she was always asked, do you have anything extra? She started to bring extra, and after a while she didn't put any announcement because she thought that she will sell everything anyway, but it like died, the concept, because consumers thought that she has produce if I like, and she didn't know how much to bring, because that was a very, very bad solution for this producer.
So besides Finland and Sweden, what other countries is the REKO most popular now?
It's in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. In these 3 countries, we had quite close to 2.5 million members.
Wow!
And then Iceland is a very big, small society, so there are REKO circles, but of course it's not so many people. If you look at other countries, United States is quite big. And it started with the pandemic, because the authorities shut down the farmers' market during the pandemic because of the risk for contamination. But people had heard about this REKO system, and when it's pre-ordered, it was like take away. So the authorities, it was good for the authorities. And when they started it, they in some places they saw it's even better than farmers market, because a good farmers market is very, very good, but it's also very, very expensive to participate. Someone had to pay $1,500 just to have a place for selling, and you should sell a lot of stuff just to pay for the place. And if the weather was bad, you went back home with almost everything you had brought. But with this pre-order and normally also prepaid, they came to pick up their stuff. So I think for the moment in US they have this concept in at least 15 states, but probably more. But actually, Canada was one of the first outside Europe to start with it, long before the pandemic. But it spread around in Europe. We have it in Latvia and Slovenia, and now here in Romania, and also in the Netherlands. And they have made trials in Ireland and also in Wales. So these are the main countries here in Europe, but then they also have in South Africa. In Australia, it's quite big. They have made trials in New Zealand, I know, and then in Canada and United States. So we have altogether now between 800 and 1,000 circles with about 3.5 million members globally.
So why have you come to Romania?
I received a message from Carmen Lesse close to 4.5 years ago. She asked for help for a certain kind of problem. And when I received the message, I think Romania is, it was a little bit unexpected country for me for REKO. I thought you have small farms here and you probably have farmers market, people selling directly. So it was not on my list where it was the most natural place to start it. But of course I was interested, and I discussed with her. We had also online discussions, so and she seemed to be very, very dedicated. So I have followed the development here in Romania, and also been very, very, very impressed of this circle, because I consider it one of the best circle in the world when it comes to how to show the produce. I couldn't figure out how the producers here in Romania take so good pictures of what they want to deliver. But now, the other day I found out the reason. They have this professional photographer that helps the producers to present their produce in a very nice way. So always when I have discussed with farmers, I say, use this Romania as a role model for how to present produce, because I consider it as the best in total globally. And we have had the discussion during the years, and a couple of years ago I wrote a book about the REKO story from the beginning, and I also used perhaps 12, 14 people from abroad to contribute with text to this publication, and Carmen Lesse was one of those. So I've been following her, and we change thoughts now and then, and this now I decided it could be possible to come here to Romania and see, because I didn't know a lot of the circumstances. It's my very first visit to Romania, so I was a little bit curious how it was possible, since I said I didn't see before Romania as a natural place to start with this, but she have shown me that I was a little bit wrong.
What is your name, the name of your book, and where can it be found?
It can be found also in PDF on internet. My own municipality has it on. I have in the car. I have a couple of these. I made them in 3 languages, so in English to spread around, also internationally. But unfortunately, I don't have any book with me here. I have it in my bag somewhere. So it's possible to have it. It's about. I used a professional journalist. It took us 1 year to make this 80 pages about the REKO story from the beginning and how it developed.
Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for your presence and for the interesting story about this concept. I wish you all the best, and I wish you to have a great success, and let's hope that also in Romania it develops a lot. And I also want to thank Carmen Leșe and the people from ROA Cluj. We'll have her in another show, and let's hope we will meet maybe sometime in the future again.
Who knows? And I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to talk about this concept. It has been a game changer in my own life, so I'm very satisfied of the development. It was never planned, but life have changed.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.